Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Brett Renee. I'm an artist, and in this video, I am going to let you in on a little watercolor painting secret that will be a complete game changer. In fact, if you do what I'm about to tell you to do, not only will your experience of painting in watercolor be so much more fun and enjoyable, but the results you're going to get are going to be at a whole other level. And this is without having to worry about composition and color or improve your drawing skills or anything like that. So after I tell you all this, make sure you stick around till the end of the video because I'm going to give you all the specific information that you're going to need to do this and to take your painting to a higher level. Watercolor, in my opinion, is the most difficult medium to work in. So why is that? Well, you're dealing with water, right? Water does not like to be controlled. Water just wants to go where water wants to go. And unless you want to just work totally loose and you don't care where the paint and water goes, you're going to have to learn to exert some measure of control over it. So I primarily work in watercolor now, but for many years I didn't. I was trying to work in watercolor, but I just kept getting frustrated. My paintings, they sucked. I was failing at it right and left. I kept getting these big smeary messes and a lot of those cauliflowers, you know, where the water kind of gets in the middle of it and spreads the paint and you get those weird edges. It was really frustrating. And so then I would put it aside and I just go work in acrylics or oils or anything else where I had some intentionality with the paint. But the thing was, I kept coming back to watercolor because I just love that translucent quality you get with that paint and the white paper coming through. It's like light coming through the paintings. It's so beautiful, and I really wanted to master that. And so I'll just show you. I'm going to pop one of my paintings up on the screen now. This is something that I could never have done years ago before I knew this secret. You can see how detailed this is, all the lights coming through. How do you achieve that? So years ago, I had a teacher tell me what I'm about to tell you, and it was a complete game changer. But I also know that if you're a beginner or you've been struggling with watercolor painting, you might have some resistance to doing this. And I'm going to talk about that resistance in a minute. But let me just say that if you take the plunge and do this, I guarantee that you are going to have such a better experience of watercolor painting. Okay, so are you ready to hear what it is? You need to use top quality professional materials. Yeah, that's it. It really makes a difference. And I'm not selling anything. I have no financial interest in what you buy. I'm not an affiliate or anything like that. I'm just telling you something that works. And I also know, I've seen a lot of artists, especially new artists, they don't want to do this. Good quality materials are expensive, but you're going to have such a better experience that you're going to love watercolor painting and you're going to learn a lot faster. Whereas if you use the cheap stuff, it just, you just get frustrated. It's the truth. But you know, the thinking behind it is, well, I'm not very good right now. I don't deserve to buy really good quality stuff because it's going to be a waste. I'm going to end up throwing it out or whatever you're thinking. So I'll use the cheap stuff and I'll get better. And then when I'm good enough, then I'll use the good stuff. But that you have to think totally opposite. Using the good stuff, you're going to have fun, you're going to learn faster, and all that other stuff about, you know, color and composition and all of those kinds of things, that's going to work itself out because you're just going to be in the process of learning and enjoying what you're doing, and you're going to start getting some interesting results right from the beginning. Okay, so let's talk about materials. So there's really only 3 things that you need to buy really high quality. That would be paint, paper, and brushes. Now, I'm going to talk about the brands that I use, and they're not the only brands out there. There are things that are of equal caliber. I just know that the stuff I use, I think a large percentage of artists do use. But if you know of something of equal caliber that works really well, that you want to share, go ahead and pop it in the comments so that other people watching this video might explore that if they want to. I'm going to start right now with paint. So the thing about the paint is, cheap paints, cheap watercolor paints, the reason they don't work well is because they have very little pigment in them and a lot of binders and fillers. So when you go to try to get a nice saturation of color on the paper, you just don't get it. So then what happens with a lot of beginning students is they don't get this bright color that they see in watercolor paintings and they want it. And so then they put another wash on and another wash on, another wash on, and you're still not going to get that vibrancy that you want. And then things start to kind of smear. That's what happens. Or the paper, if you're using cheap paper, starts to ball and fray because it just can't hold all those washes and all that water. So this is why people get frustrated with bad materials. So the paint that I use, and I can just show you, I use mainly Daniel Smith colors. They come in tubes. I also use some Windsor and Newton professional colors. It just depends on the hues that I like and the different lines. There's some other lines too that are equally good. And I'm just gonna pop on the screen right now. I'm just gonna show you a couple colors and how they saturate. So I'm gonna put on some ultramarine blue here. This is a Windsor and Newton color, and I love this color. French ultramarine, I use it all the time. It mixes well with so many other colors. And then I'm also gonna put down some New Gamboge. This is a Daniel Smith color. It's one of my favorite colors. And so you can see how rich and vibrant these colors are. And you know, when you're working dry, you can get them full strength, or you can water them down a little bit and you can get the colors at a different tone. Okay, so next, let's talk about paper. You need to use really good paper because it needs to hold a lot of water. I'm gonna show you, this is the brand that I use. I use the Arches. It's cold press, 140-pound paper. And yeah, it's expensive, but it works. When I'm painting florals and other nature scenes, I can put 6 to 10 washes on my paper. So it needs to hold that water. You can buy these pads in different sizes. They also come in blocks, which is where like the paper kind of is stuck together and you don't have to put it on a board or anything. You can just paint right in the pad, and then when you're done, it kind of lifts off and pull it off. Another thing I do, and I'll show you, is I buy the Arches paper, like a big piece of it. And the thing I love about this is I can either work big, or more often than not, I can tear it up into other sizes, I think this is 22 by 30, and you can tear it down to being like a 16 by 20 and two 11 by 14s. And so you get really 3 paintings out of it. But even if you're learning, like if you're new, using this kind of paper is great. You could cut it up into a bunch of, I think you can get 12 5 by 7s out of it. And this paper is so good. It's made in France, and it will hold so much water that you could do a painting on one side and you could flip it over and you could do another painting on the other side if you're just practicing. So this you'd have to get at like a good quality art store. I also buy it at my local university. Sometimes you can do that. And but you won't be able to find it in like a Michael's or any of those kind of superstores. Same thing with the pads generally. You're gonna have to go to a nice art store or go online and get it. But it is so worth it. And all the good watercolorists that I know use Arches paper. It really is the best. Okay, and then the last thing I want to talk to you about are the brushes. So this is the brush that I use for, like I say 90% of the time. I love this brush. This is a DaVinci Dartana spin brush. And the reason I like this brush is it's synthetic squirrel, and it keeps its shape. I've used this brush for years. I mean, I can't tell you how many paintings I have used this brush on, and the point is still good. I do a lot of detailed work in my paintings, so I don't ever have to use another like small brush. I can just use the tip of this if I want to do detail work, but it also holds a bit of water if I need it to, and I can cover some area really well. And then I have one other brush that I use. I'm gonna grab it. Oh. This is also a DaVinci brush. This is a size 12, and I can use this as a mop brush. It has a tip on it, but I tend to use the other brush for my detail work, but it's really nice because it does hold a lot of water and I can spread. And then, you know, you can always get another like flat brush that you could use if you're gonna like do big washes, like if you do a lot of landscapes or something like that. It's nice to have that kind of brush. Okay, so now you know the secret. So I'm gonna go ahead and put all the materials and the colors that I used in this video in the comments in case you're interested. And I just wanna thank you for watching today. If you like this video, if it's helpful, please like or subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.